Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mindful Physiology series. So far, we have talked about homeostasis. Everything changes, and the body knows what to do when there is a change. Then we talk about the cell, is this structure in the body that transforms all the nutrients into energy. Then we talk about the structural system, bones and muscles, that give us stability in life. And then we talk about the interstitium, which is an interface that connects everything together inside of our body. Then last week we talked about the cardiovascular system, our heart and our blood vessels, arteries and veins. And this week I'm talking about the lymphatic system. So today I want to cover in this talk. First, we will start with our awareness practice to connect and to identify where this lymphatic system is. Then I will go into some reflections from the physiology, what the physiology of the lymphatic system teaches us. Teaches us in how to take care of our lymphatic system, but also teaches us about life because the role that it has in our body. Then we go into what are the functions, just a very general level, the physiological functions of the lymphatic system from more medical point of view, if you like. And then I will close with how you can support your lymphatic system because it's a very important system that so many times is neglected, and actually many of us don't know what is the lymphatic system. We sometimes know about the general ones, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, but we don't know about the lymphatic system. And this is a very important system that supports many other systems in our body. It really does a big work. So I really want us today to touch that part of our body and connect with this system. So this is what I'm going to cover today. We will start then with our awareness practice. This is an awareness practice for the lymphatic system. And before we go into the practice, I just want you to check with your body and touch those parts in your body where the lymphatic system has more nodes or more presence due to the work that it does. And we are going to touch a part of our body that I will recall when we are in the practice. So this is a previous phase for our practice. So the lymphatic system is located in many nodes of the lymphatic system are located in the neck. We will know why this is the reason. There are a lot in our armpits. There are another big group of nodes, of lymphatic nodes in our stomach. And there is a very important one that is in the thymus. It's a gland that we sometimes don't know very much about it. And it's a very important gland. So now what we are going to do is find our thymus, because this can be one of the places where you can be in contact with your lymphatic system. So your thymus, try to locate these clavicle bones here. And from here, you are going to move down and you start touching this bone. This bone is the sternum. So close your eyes and feel, if you make a little bit of pressure in this part of your body, feel when you see or feel some kind of sensation, different sensation. Mine is here. Try to find your spot. It's a spot that you feel different sensation, but also maybe it calls your attention when you press. This is your thymus. This is where your thymus are located, and we will discover what it does for us. I'm just gonna, before we start the practice, something come to my mind now, and is remembering in an acupuncture session in Korea, the doctor, I was having some condition, so I was not feeling very healthy those days, and he touched this point, and it was very painful. When I pressed, it was painful to the point that I screamed. And he said, okay, this is because you are in general, you are not good in general. You have to press this point as many times as possible during the coming days until the point that you touch and you laugh. I just wanted to mention this in case of it's useful for any one of you, because I find it remarkable for me. And I did the exercise touching this point. So I discovered that I had a lot of kind of grief accumulated in this point, and I touched it until the point I was able to laugh and laugh about myself. Okay, so now we start with the practice. Remember, for any awareness practice, when you bring your attention inside your body, you want to have a back straight, your feet touching the ground to be connected with the earth and feel the support of the earth. This is actually one of the reasons why we do this. Feel that you are supported by the earth. And then close your eyes and start by taking some deep breaths. Inhaling deep, exhale slow. Inhale deep and fill your lungs. Exhale slow, gentle. Move out the air from your body. Inhale deep and exhale slow. Now bring your attention to the area above the upper lip and below the nostrils. Just this little area above the upper lip and below the nostrils. And breathe normally. Do not push your breath. Do not force it. Just see how your breath is now. Check if it's slow, maybe it's agitated. Just observe, don't judge. You don't have to do anything, just breathe normally. Feel the air coming in through your nose. Feel the air coming out from your nose with each exhale. Now in this moment, connect with your heart and your blood vessels, your arteries, the veins. See how your blood is circulating all around your body. Moving, going into the heart, being oxygenated in the lungs, coming back to the body. Observe that cycle. And now visualize that next to every single artery and vein and blood vessel that you have in your body, even at the top of your toe or the tip of the little finger in your hand or the top of your head, all the blood vessels that reach everywhere in the body, next to them there is a delicate network of channels. It's another network of channels. It's similar to your blood vessels, but it has a different function. Connect with this whole network of channels that move all around your body. They are located everywhere in your body, and they are always next to arteries and vessels in your body. That is your lymphatic system, and that system carries the water, the fluids in excess from your body, and also carries the toxins that are released from the cells of your body after the cells do their work. Your cells transform nutrients into energy. They do many other works, and as a result, they expel toxins. But the toxins cannot remain in your body because they are dangerous for your health. So, the lymphatic system takes these toxins from the tissues everywhere in your body and fluid and move this fluid throughout your body only in one direction. And when it does that, when it's moving the fluid, it passes the fluid through some filters. Those filters are called lymphatic nodes, and they are around 700 of them. They are oval-shaped structures located everywhere in the body, and they are filters. They are inspectors. So every time your fluid moves through the lymphatic system, goes inside one of these nodes, they get clean. And like an inspector, it checks what is in this fluid. If for some reason this node detects that there is a bacteria or there is a virus that is not good for you and is going to be harmful, the filter, all the system generates white cells to kill that bacteria. And when the fluid leaves out that node, the fluid is clean and purified. The fluid continues and then enter your body, again enter your blood fluid, your blood stream near to your heart. It returns all the fluid that before collected from the body with toxins and returns that, but now clean and purified, again to your blood flow. And it does that in a point that is very near to your heart. Now I want you to think in your house. In your house, you have the faucets of clean water that is coming from outside. Those faucets are like the arteries in our body. They carry blood, oxygenated good blood. And in your house, it brings good, clear water for you to use. And then you have another network of pipelines in your house, which are the drains. And the drains are the one that collect all the dirts, the dirty waters, and move them out of the house. That is your lymphatic system. It's collecting all the toxins and move them out, clean them, and then returns clean to your body again as the water returns again purified to your house. So in this moment, feel gratitude for the garbage collectors that you have in your city and from your water treatment system that you have in your city, and gratitude to the drains in your house, because if they are not working, they are clogged, there will be a lot of panic in your house to start having accumulated dirty waters in your house. And this that happened, this uncomfortable feeling of having the drains clogged in your house, is exactly what happens in our body when the lymphatic system is not working well and we are having a kind of dirty fluid going through our body and circulating our body. Just as you felt gratitude for the water system in your city, for your drains in your house, for the rubbish collection in your city, now bring your hand to this point that you recognized before, the thymus, which is near in front of the sternum, the bone. Find that there, find your thymus. And now is the time to give gratitude to the thymus, because it's in the thymus where the white cells are produced, and those white cells are the ones that kill the bacteria and all the toxins that are not good for us. So this gland and all these points around here, they have a huge role in your health and in your life. Now move your attention back to your breath, and again only to this area above your upper lip and below the nostrils. Focus there. Feel your breath. Smile to yourself full of gratitude. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Okay. Thank you for your company in this awareness exercise. So now let's start, and the first part I want to talk is more about the reflections from what we learn from this amazing system. So the first one is talking a little bit about etymology. So the word lymph comes from the word lympha, which is Latin, from the Latin lympha, which means clear water. So this is one of the reasons why in the 17th century, when the scientists discovered the lymphatic system, they used the word lymph to describe the waters that goes around our body. So it's always very interesting to know the reasons why the things have the name that they have. There is always a reason behind. But continuing with etymology, there is even something that for me is more beautiful, and is that the word lympha, so this Latin word lympha, comes from the Old Greek nymph. And this is a word that you might be related to when we talk about mythology. So in all mythology, the nymphs were water spirits. They were like minor goddesses, and they were kind of these spirits of the water that they were worshipped a lot by the farmers to have well-watered crops and flourishing crops. So this is part of the connection between lymph and nymph. And then we have another connection, and is the name of the system, lymphatic. This comes more from a legend that, again, in old Greece, that it talks that when someone gazes the sensuous, feminine, and beauty of the nymphs, which were these water spirits with a very feminine energy, one who gazes them, they will become insane. And then that is the reason why the word lymphaticus, the first meaning or the original meaning of lymphaticus, it was a person crazy, raving, or crazy, someone who is insane. It came from that. And then when the scientists discovered the system, they continue using the word, but without paying too much attention of what the origin of the word lymphaticus, which is crazy, means. For me, this, I don't have answers, but what I see is that huge connection between the lymph, water, and then our mental and psychological state. That is why in this legend the people became insane, became crazy. So what is this behind? What we can see more behind the meaning of the water? And in traditional Chinese medicine and in India, the element of water had a very important role, and it has been always connected again with emotions. So this is in traditional Chinese medicine and in healing techniques from the East. Every time there is a problem that is coming or is rooted in the lymphatic system, then they related a lot in how we were managing or we are managing our emotions and how are the flow of the emotions. So there is a connection in how this system is and flows with how healthy we are physically, but also emotionally. So this is the first core, this relation between water, emotions, and the word lymph, and the original meaning of the lymphatic system. The second big learning that I want to share is that, coming back to the function of the lymphatic system helps to clean the fluids in our body and help us to defend against bacteria. It kills the bacteria in our body that detects in our body. So for what it teaches us is that this system is the system that stands in front of everything that is going to attack them. And what it teaches us for us as system and in life is that we have to stand up for ourselves and we have to defend or fight our beliefs. This is the beautiful message that this system teaches, because is this what it does internally in our body. And the thing is that when we allow that fear or guilt rule our lives, that will immediately have an impact in the lymphatic system and will start to breaking down the system. But the good news is that one of the ways to treat this breaking down of the system is through self-esteem, improving our self-esteem, our self-appreciation for ourselves, and creativity, which is another key element that is related with the lymphatic system, our creativity, that can be in many shapes, but is kind of allowing ourselves to be playful and spontaneous, live out a little bit the rigidity in life. And those qualities have a lot to do with how our lymphatic system works and how the lymphatic system keeps running and cleaning the liquids in our body. The other thing I want to mention, which is very important, is that in herbalism, which is therapeutic technique to heal illnesses, any kind of illness in the body, with the use of herbs. So there are different herbs that are appropriate for the different conditions that we have. And the herbs that I use usually to restore or to improve the lymphatic system are related also with improving our intuition. So this as well shows us or teaches us that when we take care or when we take care of our lymphatic system and be aware that this fluid is clean and runs out easily in a steady way, then we can have also a more open intuition, and we are able then to move the emotions easier. So these are some of the teachings that are coming from the herbs and from the old traditions and even from the origin of the words. Now, coming back to this topic of the relationship of the water element and the emotions, I want just to highlight here that this has been known for centuries from traditional Chinese medicine and for all the healing techniques that comes from the East. They always knew that there is a relationship of the water element and the emotions. They carry emotions, they store emotions. However, around 30 or 25 years ago, Masuro Emoto, who was a Japanese curious about the water, started an experiment and exposed the water to different kind of environments, exposed ponds of water and cups of water. He made many experiments, and he exposed them every time to different words, to different songs, to different expressions, to different emotions. And then what he did was measuring how the molecular structure of the water reacted to those stimulus. And what he found is that when the water was exposed, or he said words like, "I love you, water," "You are beautiful, water," "You are amazing," or the words, simple words like harmony, love, or the water was exposed to nice harmonious sounds like classical music or different kind of sounds that were very harmonious, or the people gather around and send messages of love to the water, then the structure of the water created some beautiful figures that they were almost like crystal with different geometries, but in a very harmonious ways and something that it looks very beautiful. But when the water was exposed to words, bad words, like I hate you, I don't like you, um, or feelings of hate, or music that it didn't have any sounds but it was more noise, then the water structure was completely different. Actually, not forming any particular structure, but something that was very cloudy and at our eyes, something that we cannot call beauty or beautiful. So this experiment was just a couple of years ago, already like more than 20 years ago, but it has been like a tangible way to demonstrate those things that back of many centuries ago were inferred by intuition that the water carries emotions and how the water reacts to the emotions and the words. And this highlighted a very big work nowadays in how we treat ourselves. Because if we know that we are between 60 and 70% of water, so then whatever stimulus we receive, it will have an impact in that water, and that water will accommodate in different ways and will create some kind of effect in our bodies. So here, as I was showing in the images, these ones are some of the images that he found, but I'm gonna leave the link of some videos with some documentaries and more information about Masaru Emoto's experiment of water, because there is a lot of meaning behind that he found. It moves us more from the scientific aspect of the structure of the water to actually touch something inside of us. And I'm talking here about this topic is because the lymphatic system carries actually the waters in our body, and the literal meaning of the system is actually water. So this is from what I wanted to share with you in terms of the what the system teaches us. And now I'm gonna just very briefly talk about the functions. So the lymphatic system, from the physiological point of view, it has the lymph, which is this fluid going around our body. This lymph has a kind of water pale color when it's healthy, and is very fluid, it moves. But when it's not, it becomes dense and it becomes more cloudy. When we start filling up of toxins, then the fluid is not very fluid. It doesn't flow very easily around our body. So the lymphatic system that has this fluid, and this fluid goes inside some channels or travel inside some channels, which are the lymphatic vessels. And the lymphatic vessels ends in the very far end parts of our body in lymphatic capillaries, similar to the blood capillaries, very similar to the system. They are very like sister systems that one support to each other. And then we have in the system around 700 nodes that are like egg-shaped little balls, if I can call them like that. That, as I mentioned, the main function is to receive the fluid, filter, and return that fluid back to the bloodstream again, but pure. Now it's safe, this liquid. The other parts that we maybe don't know that are part of the lymphatic system are the spleen, and this is one of the reasons is because it support the spleen support a lot the stomach, and this is one of the areas where we are exposed through food to toxins. So this part of the spleen has a big role in our immune system, and there is a lot concentration of nodes in this part of our body. Also, as I mentioned, we have in the neck, in the armpits a lot. We have them all around the body, but these are the main concentrations in the neck and in the thymus, which is this beautiful spot here that I invite you to go and touch many times during the day or during the week until you are able to feel the power of this point. Not only to help and draining the lymphatic system, but also when you are facing some emotional moments, when you are kind of losing the control of your emotions, you can immediately come back to this point because it has the function like to restore our nervous system, the lymphatic system, and hence the nervous system. Another important thing to mention about the lymphatic system is like the wonder of our body, is that it supports, as I mentioned, the immune system, it supports the cardiovascular system, as you have seen, but also we have a lot of lymphatic tissue located in the respiratory system and in the digestive system. And the reason why is there is a lot of lymphatic tissue in these parts is because these are the parts that are exposed directly to the environment, exposed more to toxins through the environment. So in the respiratory system, we receive the air that probably comes with toxins. So there are a line here of defense that are ready to expel everything that comes out through our nose. And in the digestive system, it's exactly the same. As we eat food, maybe some toxins come. So throughout the digestive system, we have a line there defeating and fighting against the bacteria and the viruses to expel them out from our body. Just a little break here, and is that is the reason why when we get an infection, especially the kids, maybe adults as well, but it's more noticeable and more frequent in kids, they get this part of the body inflamed, and why the reason why the doctors check always here how big they are. What they are checking is how big the nodes are, because if they are inflamed, this is a sign of infection. But we will talk about later in other episodes. Infection doesn't mean bad always. This inflammation doesn't mean bad always. Inflammation is a sign of the body. So it gets inflamed because the nodes know that there is a virus, so they become like stronger to start releasing the white cells to kill the bacteria. If they don't get swollen, then the system is not working. So this is something we have to understand, because so many times we see inflammation as something to be worried about immediately as it happens. It's a defense mechanism from the body to start acting in a good way to eliminate what it doesn't serve us. So to recap the functions again, because there are a couple of functions that are vital and important for us to understand. It cleans and filters the waters in our system. It defends us from bacteria that is coming from the nose, from the food that we eat, but also from the skin. And this is one important reason why we have to start paying attention in what kind of products we put in our skin, because the toxins go inside also through the skin. But one of the functions of the lymphatic system is like be there ready as a barrier to detect any toxin. It regulates the fluids in our body. because the cell is working inside, and then whatever she's not using, whatever water is not using, whatever fluid is not using, it expels out to the tissues. If the lymphatic system doesn't exist, then the tissues start getting more inflamed, full of water, and this is when the water retention happens. So the lymphatic system helps to remove and balance the waters and the fluids in our body. The other big important part of the lymphatic system is that directly deals with the cancer cells. So it has a great level of understanding when a cancer cell comes, and is like the first line of defense. So cancer so many times is related with a failure in our lymphatic system because it's not doing the work that it has to do. And the last function is to absorb the fats. So we will see this very in detail in the nutrition episodes, in the nutrition season, which will start in a couple of weeks' time. But for now, the food that we eat, it always comes in the way of carbohydrates or proteins or fats. That's all in terms of molecular structure. This is what we eat: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Then we eat that, and some carbohydrates are started being digested here. Then the food continues going, and in the stomach, more digestion happens, but the real absorption of the nutrients coming from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are absorbed in the small intestine, in our guts. But the fat, any fat, have a more complex structure than a carbohydrate and a protein. So the absorption in the gut cannot happen as it happens with carbohydrates and proteins. The breaking down is more difficult for fats. So what the system does is send those big molecules of fat to your lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system absorb the nutrients from the fat, break it down, absorb the nutrients, and send those nutrients into the bloodstream. So two important things here to understand from this function. The first one is that when our lymphatic system is not working well, that can be one of the causes of obesity, because we are not digesting well the fats. And also, it can be the case of malnutrition. Fat contains nutrients. Fats are not bad. They contain nutrients that our body needs. So if we don't absorb them from the food we eat, then we can get malnutrition, and that can be expressed in different ways. Okay. Before I move into how can you support your lymphatic system, just to close, there is an important thing here, and is that our lymphatic system, our cardiovascular system has the heart to pump out the blood, and make it move throughout the body. But the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. So, having said that, the only way the lymphatic system moves the fluids is thanks to the movement that you do. So we have to move. There is no way. And there is one of the reasons why, for example, people who stay in hospitals for a long time, even if they have a completely different condition, then they may start having issues with the lymphatic system while in the hospital, because they are not moving, they are in bed. But not only happens when we are in the hospital, it happens in our life. If we keep a very sedentary life, we have to move to allow these fluids to move. One of the things that the Eastern philosophies and healing techniques in the East knew from long time was that this part of the body needs movement from outside. And that is why all those techniques involved in the healing process of any illness, massages. And the massages, the purpose is to move this fluid out of the body because the system doesn't have a pump. I'm gonna show you quickly here the same drawing that we saw last week in terms of the heart and circulatory system, but now I have added something in green, which is the lymphatic system, and it's pretty much the same I have already explained. The blood sends, the cells sends everything that they don't use into the tissue, connective tissue, and then we have this network of lymph capillaries and lymph vessels to collect all these fluids, move them through a node, clean them and circulate them, clean and return them back to the blood vessels. And then they move to the heart, so the heart sends them out throughout the body. Another just way to show how this system works. I want to close today when I was talking about Masaru Emoto, who after he did this experiment with water, he was really deeply touched by what the water means in the world. What the water means in our world is life. It's exactly the same with our body. And he got inspired to start working more at energetic level and spiritual level of the meaning of water. And he promoted all Japanese prayer that was used to bless the water. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna play the song, which I'm gonna put the link also if you want to listen more, because it will help also to purify your lymphatic system. But I'm gonna play the song and sing in my best Japanese ever. I don't speak Japanese, but in my best Japanese, I'm gonna sing the song only 2 or 3 times the sentence, and with that, I will close today. Uchu no mugen no chikara ga korigote makoto no daiwa no mijo ga narinata. Uchu no mugen no chikara ga korigote makoto na daiwa no miyo gagarinata. Uchu no mugen no chikara ga korikote makoto no daiwa no miyo ga narinata. The meaning in English is the eternal power of the universe has gathered itself to create the world with true and great harmony. If you heal your waters, you heal your life, because life is water. I said that I was going now, but I just want to leave another final reflect. This was something I came across also when looking at the etymology. And I want you from a very mature outlook, go and research about the word nymphomaniac. We use this word nowadays to describe something, but we have to come back to the roots and see what is really teaching us from the root of the word nymph, which is based in the spirit of water, and this spirit of water that also moves our creativity. And creativity leads us to sexuality. But sexuality can mean so many things in our life. So I just want you to do, I leave you home with homework to look at the root of the word nymphomaniac, and reflect yourself. What is the meaning of that? And then ask yourself, how are the waters in your body? How the waters of your body are moving, and what you can do to improve the waters in your body. With this, I close. Now I close. Thank you very much, and see you next week.